Someone must stop the onslaught in Palestine's Gaza. But who has the ultimate power to do that? The United Nations Security Council? Let's see if we can trust it. The UN Security Council, established after World War II to prevent global conflict, comprises 5 of the war's victors who maintain permanent seats in the Council, plus 10 other non-permanent members. Yet today's reality seems to indicate that no progress has been made in avoiding mistakes of the past. A single veto from a permanent Council member, in this case the US, has been blocking ceasefire resolutions, leaving the body powerless to halt Israel's brutal onslaught. The burning question persists: what purpose does the UNSC serve? As the stakes in Gaza rise and horror continues to unfold day in, day out, the world watches and asks, what's the point? The United Nations Security Council is one of the 6 principal organs of the UN and is charged with maintaining international peace and security. Its main purpose, in other words, is to stop wars and conflicts. The UNSC is the only UN body with the authority to issue resolutions that are binding among member states. It came out to be following World War II and the failure of League of Nations. But has the United Nations itself succeeded? Have it solved any crisis in the world? In 1995, UN forces in Srebrenica failed to prevent the deaths of more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslims. The UN declared Srebrenica a safe area before the massacre and deployed peace forces there. You know what happened in that safe area? Well, UN forces had left Bosnian Muslims unarmed and watched them get massacred. So is the UN Security Council really binding? Civil war in Syria has been ongoing for more than 12 years, but there's still no resolution to the violence. In times of conflict, the Security Council can call on members to apply economic sanctions and other measures or to take military action against an aggressor. However, we don't see any positive action here. Why? Does it have something to do with the interests of some of the permanent members in Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, Ethiopia? These are the countries where the Security Council failed to ensure peace and security. But wait, the Security Council sometimes does bring peace. In 1991, Kuwait was liberated from Iraqi forces. But was this being done for world peace or for other more selfish reasons? Even if a peace force did arrive in Gaza, would it actually protect civilians? Would it stop the genocide? Would the criminals involved be punished? I have doubts. Because as I mentioned before, 5 countries have a voice, and 1 veto is enough to compromise a just decision. You know who that 1 permanent member is in this case, don't you? Yes, you know. They say Israel is their closest ally. What makes them this close? That's another question. Yet this statement from Biden says it all.
Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region.
The United States vetoed a ceasefire resolution set forth by the UN Security Council. Another voting session was planned, but was postponed to avoid another US veto. To ensure peace in the world, this system must change. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan always emphasizes this motto: the world is bigger than 5. When he says this, he has a point. It is obvious that UN Security Council must be restructured in a more equitable way to render it more efficient. Is the United Nations Security Council the guarantor of the world's security? Or is it the battlefield of the political strategies of 5 countries? Is this order ever going to change? Will innocent children continue to pay the price? Does international law apply to all, or are some countries above the law? Let me ask you again, what's the point?